Throughout the 90s, cars went from boxes to blobs, especially apparent here in the US, where we went from giant bricks of steel with cumbersome V8s that could barely cough up 100 horsepower, to giant steel blobs with the same V8s. Needless to say, by the 2000s, the automotive industry was growing stale quickly, with some companies deciding to look back with retro styling seen on the PT Cruiser, Ford Thunderbird, or the experimental Chevy SSR. Japanese marques were looking back to the boxy designs of yesteryear, the first of which was Honda in 2003 with their quirky Element. The Element was built on the CR-V platform and was aimed at the outdoorsy millennial, one that is always on the move. The Element was designed as a vehicle to haul stuff and serve as a mobile base camp, featuring seats that could fold down into a quite lumpy bed, which seems it would lend itself particularly well to homeless, but almost 20 years, Spokane tweakers still prefer the Buick LeSabre, or a Saturn of any kind. The floors were made out of a rubbery material so as to be easily washable. Unfortunately though, the styling was not a high point of the Element, with many calling it ugly. A highlight of its utilitarian design was where the doors opened for the whole cab by use of those horrible truck doors on the back where you need to open the front to get to the back, leaving the car without a B-pillar and open to hits from the side, getting it a poor side impact score. Even with the shortcomings of the car, especially in the safety and quality departments, reliability was ever present. It was powered by Honda's bulletproof CR-V 2.4-liter dual overhead cam inline-4, producing 160 horsepower, coupled to your choice of a 5-speed manual or 4-speed automatic transmission with 4-wheel drive or front-wheel drive configurations. The biggest surprise about the performance was how, in the source I read, in mixed use it only got 18 miles per gallon. The 4.0 Ford Ranger, from what is 7 years older, cranks out 16 miles per gallon easily, despite being 1.6 liters larger and 2 more cylinders. The Element was still a relatively cheap car, with the base model DX front-wheel drive coming in at $1,600 and the top-of-the-line four-wheel drive EX coming in at $21,000. The Honda Element seems to be the black sheep of this episode, as it isn't really related to any of the other 3 cars talked about today, and also due to its focus on off-road driving. The Element dropped the manual transmission in 2010 and quietly ended production in 2011 after 9 years of production. While researching this car, I read an article that called Millennials Generation Y, and that was weird because it was the first time that I've ever heard somebody calling them that. In 2003, Toyota launched Scion, its brand focused at appealing to a younger or urban driver. Scion cars were designed to be unique and customizable, to stand out among other cars on the road, and they delivered with the 2004 XB. Powered by a 1.5-liter inline-4 that could produce 108 horsepower, with either an automatic or a manual transmission. Performance was never its main focus, although handling was better than expected. An author at Cars.com, who is for whatever reason anonymous, claimed that it had great acceleration, with one person, but they noted that the automatic transmission would constantly change gears on hilly roads. It had greater than 16 miles per gallon fuel efficiency at 30 miles per gallon. Despite the appeal to a younger audience, people of all ages like the Scion XB, due to its upright cab with height comparable to a minivan and overall practicality. It sold well despite its rather lacking interior and sluggish performance, and it was affordable and unique. The model run lasted until 2007 when they took a break to redesign the XB for 2008. The 08 XB featured a less boxy body and was now larger in almost every metric. The engine grew to 2.4 liters with an output of 158 horsepower. With the revamp came a slight problem, in which a large roof pillar caused a large blind spot. The new version of the 5-speed transmission had a few quirks, such as the short gearing between first and second, along with an almost invisible tachometer, because the XB had center-mounted gauges. The tach was sandwiched between the speedo, the fuel, and temp gauges. The XB was the best-selling Scion, that lasted until the end of Scion in 2016, when Toyota felt that the Scion name had run its course. The success of the XB inspired rivals such as the second-generation Nissan Cube in 2009 and the Kia Soul in 2010. The Nissan Cube was first introduced to Japanese markets in 1998 as just a normal four-door family car, gaining the Cube moniker due to its boxy design. Following the success of the Scion XB, Nissan redesigned the Cube for 2009, now for American and European markets. This car is distinct even from a cursory glance, with a large wraparound glass rear and side window opposite the driver's side. I'll never forget Top Gear's review of the Cube, where Clarkson said, "If you don't like the styling, you could always just look on the other side." The reasoning for the unique wraparound window was to eliminate the blind spot. The Nissan Cube's design was not taken very well at the time. It was named one of the ugliest cars of 2015 by Chicago journalist Matt Schmitz. The asymmetrical design and tall, boxy outline, coupled with its small size, made it stand out on American roads. It featured a 122 horsepower, 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine, available with a 6-speed manual or a CVT. Between the Kia Soul, the Scion XB, and the Nissan Cube, people favored the Cube the least, as people didn't care for the outrageous design and the low power, and how the car felt unstable at any speed, worsened by the flat seats, which would have you sliding around in every corner. People also complained how objects in the parcel shelf and dash cutout would fly out. Nissan offered the Cube in the top-of-the-line chrome with a K, which was hard to recommend due to the high price for not that much car. The Cube ended production first for Euro markets in 2011 and then in the US in 2014, while it soldiers on until 2019 in Japan. Out of all the boxy cars, this seems to be universally hated, but the people who own these, because of their quirks, absolutely love these things, gushing about their reliability and how they stick out. Speaking of hated, this time by car guys, the Kia Soul. The Soul was first sold in 2010, created in a utilitarian way, much like any other Korean car. The base model was equipped with a 1.6-liter inline-4, sending 122 horsepower to the front wheels, but with your choice of a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed automatic transmission. But you could get a 2-liter 4-banger with a modest 142 horsepower. Sporty was not something that could be used to describe the Soul, but it was one of the cheapest cars of the year at $1,800 for the base model. The first-gen Soul was an IIHS top safety pick, receiving top ratings of good in front, side, rear, and roof strength tests, with a 4 out of 5 in the front overlap crash test. I've actually driven one of these in real life. My driving school used a 4-speed first-gen as one of their student driver cars, and there really isn't anything to write home about. It captures the essence of Korean cars perfectly. It's a car, nothing more, nothing less. The Kia Soul is also a traffic car featured in Farming Simulator 2011. 2014 would be a big year for the Soul, as it was given its second-generation revamp to keep up with the ever-changing automotive landscape. Kept the same 1.6 and 2-liter engines, but dropped the manual transmission, being only automatic in this generation. It was still noisy, but the front end and rear suspension were reworked for a better ride quality. Every trim level of the 2014 Soul featured toggleable flex steer system, which allowed you to change between sport, normal, and comfort modes. The interior was also upholstered with higher quality trim. The steering wheel was covered with hand-stitched leather because they figured it was the only part of the vehicle that the driver makes constant contact with, which I disagree with, because all normal people drive with one hand scrolling reels and the other holding a beer. Also, in 2014, Kia announced the Soul EV, the first EV made by Kia, which would set in motion Kia's successful EV program of the 2020s. The main difference between that of the Soul EV and the newly facelifted Soul was the blanked-out grille on the EV. The Soul EV was powered by an 81 kilowatt, 109 horsepower electric engine that had a range of 80 to 100 miles. The EV could go from 0 to 60 in under 12 seconds and had a limited top speed of 90 miles per hour. At release, it was only sold in certain states such as California, Oregon, Maryland, New York, and New Jersey, as those states had the most electric infrastructure at the time. Kia revealed the 2020 third-generation Soul at the 2018 LA Motor Show. The third-gen Soul features the 2-liter 4-banger and the EV variant, but surprisingly, it was offered with a 6-speed manual until 2022. The third gen has the most blatant facelift of the three, with some comparing the light bar to a unibrow. The Soul still remained a great choice for everyday drivers, maintaining the large upright design with abundant interior space. Kia introduced the GT line Soul, which sported a 1.6 turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 7-speed dual clutch, which lasted until 2023. The GT and X line both feature a firmer suspension to make the Soul feel more nimble at the cost of ride quality on city streets. Not all is sunshine and rainbows though, as Kia decided to give the Soul automatic engine stop when you aren't moving. And this is genuinely the worst automotive feature that's ever been invented. The person who invented this should go, and all models except for the base LX come with advanced safety equipment. The Kia Soul is wrapping up production as we speak, as its production is going to wrap up by the end of October this year. After 16 years and 1.5 million ever made, the Soul is finally being quietly put down. Even if you and I hated the Kia Soul, maybe there was something worthwhile about it. It showed up, it did its job, and it left. It was a reliable and safe little car, and it was cheap. The last model year cost $22,000. Adjusting for inflation, it was equivalent to about $9,000 less than the original model year. It was never meant to be more than just a traffic car. I grew up alongside this car, learned to drive with this car, and changed along with this car. Now the Soul is gone, so here at Speed Rangers, we give a fond farewell to the Kia Soul. A running theme with these boxes is that they were designed with the younger, more hip buyers in mind. But with the wrapping up of small affordable cars such as the Kia Soul, it points to a worrying future. As we go deeper into the 2020s, the affordable cars of the past seem to be on their way out, as everybody seems to favor the super expensive SUVs and trucks that take years to pay off. Maybe we hated on the box cars too much while they were still here, but then again, maybe not. Thank you so much for the 130 people or so who watched our previous video about the 2000s Roadsters. It means so much for a small channel like us.